Oh, was it? I'm about to swing by when I leave here, or before I go back home today. Looks like it was going to snow, so that's good enough for me to stay home all day.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready for 12 rounds of boxing. I can do Michael Buffer, kind of. Let's get ready to rumble.
For the next 2 years, even if he's stronger, he is going to be a wild experiment.
Yeah, my white hair does wash the my picture out. I can come over a bit. I can do this, I can do this. Hello, hello, hello. Hello.
Like a young Brett Favre. He's athletic and mobile.
What's up, Kansas City? Hey, guys.
Hey, hi, Kansas City.
We're going to be going live on the air in about 4 minutes. Little live update. Hopefully have Lisa and Jeff call in. They're down at ground zero of the parade. So stay tuned right here on Facebook Live or 102.9, 104.7, Kansas City, 11:40 a.m. They're in Liberty, Missouri. KCXL.
Hey, tell them to watch for stray cars.
Huh?
Tell them to watch out for stray cars.
Great cars.
No busting through the barricades and having high-speed chase.
There's people really speeding today. This morning was bad.
Some of them are not even driving.
Like I said, we got we're gonna have more stuff next week on Facebook Live, the Steve Barnhart Show.
You are what your grandparents ate. And this is a book down deep, linking genetics and what your parents and grandparents may or may not have done right or wrong, and the outcome and why we are an inflammation and sick nation today. So, if you want a copy of this book, we can get you one, but you've got to call now. It's the only copy I've got for the right price. We can.
Steve's going to have her on in a little bit, but right at the first, about 10:05. Hopefully Lisa and Jeff, like I said, they're down at ground zero. They're going to be calling. Maybe they saw the high-speed chase.
They'll give us a report from your contact, your secret contacts down at the parade.
Yes.
That's right. And then we'll have Judith Finlayson calling about the book today. It's sure to be a best-selling book. Nicely bound, nicely put together, readable. Some points when you get to talking genetics and genomes and the like. We're on?
In 2 minutes.
Okay.
2 minutes, we go live.
I'm going to give a safety tip first. Johnny wants me to do that like that.
God bless the Queen.
What do we call a public broadcast message or public broadcast safety?
Public service message.
Okay, public service. Okay. There we go.
So we're going live in minute and a half.
We're going to start off with our public service message. Something like a public service massage. That's what I could call myself.
What about Patrick Mahomes? Woo!
Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs.
He's my homie.
My homie, boy from Kansas City.
Howdy.
Good say.
There he is. The Lord.
Hi there. Oh there. He there.
Lord Shortell. May the force be with you. I saw your notes. That cool edit did not like what they said at all. They had to process it and process it and process it.
And Pete Shortell is live with us today in the audience.
Then they wanted the music sent back to him. I said, I don't have that stuff here. It's at home. I'm not sure I know what it would have been anyway.
We live?
Broadcast. Well, I'm going to start off with two public broadcasts. Johnny wants that public broadcast.
You got something playing here, Hosanna 3.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
That
how
one,
long?
That one worked. Hosanna 1 and 2.
Well, the problem is they sent 1 and 2 two times.
10 o'clock.
So it probably didn't like being copied over a second time. But I watched it and it didn't reject it. Remember I sent you a message saying they sent remakes?
Yeah, I think that this takes
David?
more time for it to cover up.
Are we there?
Copy over. Not yet.
10 seconds.
10 seconds.
ID. There's a second one in there.
Greetings and welcome to KCXL and a community broadcast service message. Today we'd like to address hang up on fraudsters. It's tax time. The IRS does not make personal phone calls. Beware and keep your social security number, and chances are your grandson is probably not in jail. So anyway, we'd like to bring a series of broadcast services and messages every week. But Steve Barnhart here today, the Steve Barnhart Show, and we have a whole room full of people in the studio today, including our Mr. Pete Chartel, station manager Dave. We got Catfish Joe Rawlings here today, and he has somebody that's going to be calling in live from the KC Chiefs event today, whatever all that consists of. And you have the scoop on that because the fair weather fan that I am, I'm not completely and totally up to date, but I'm a glad lad that we won that Super Bowl.
Oh, I am too.
What do you think, Joe? Give us a little insight on the game. And chances are, if you're listening to us, you know, you could be a great fan, but, you know, you have the relevant radio right here today, which we have for you. Later today, we have author Judith Finlayson calling in her book on You Are What Your Grandparents Ate, Alternate Health, Why We Are Inflammation and the Sickest Nation Ever in History, and you won't want to miss that. Joe, take it over.
Well, you know, first half was I was feeling it for the defense. You know, they weren't keeping it tight, but you know, 49ers they got some good runners, and they run on us, and it's out.
Not much of an opportunity, was there?
There wasn't. Yeah. But, you know, third quarter, kind of, you know, everybody was on the edge of their seat, at least at Sis's house. Everybody was on the edge of their seat, kind of grabbing their heart, just like, oh, I'm going to have a heart attack here. And then fourth quarter, Mahomes came around. He showed us what he's all about. He showed us his game and pulled it out for us.
Well, you know, Joe, I thought the same thing, and so did most everybody else, but it was the Chiefs' magic. Mahomes and the Chiefs' magic. We forgot about that. Kind of like being a good Christian. We don't want to forget about our principles and our salvation. Same thing with that game.
Yes. Yeah, and here now, next few minutes, no phone service is very limited down at the parade. Going down, starting at 6th Street, going all the way down to Crown Center area. They are taking a right there on Pershing, shooting over to Union Station. Everything's going to be happening there. We're glad the KCPD did really well with the chase this morning.
Maybe he thought he was part of the parade.
Or, like Dana said, had to go to the restroom. And
he was very eager, like several of the drivers that passed me going 80, 90 mile an hour today.
But I think there might have been some other problems going on. But like I said, next few minutes, I've got some friends, Jeff and Lisa Brown. They are down at Ground Zero of the parade. They are down there at Union Station. We are going to try to patch them in through so they can give us a little update of what they see around them and kind of how crazy it is. But it just depends how clear their cell phone service is going to go through, because I'm already hearing that people are having problems making calls.
Well, and we having a background in electronics like and Dave and I, and you have somewhat, you have that many phones trying to come on the network at that time, it tends to have what they call a nulling effect.
Yeah.
In other words, this frequency is interfering with this frequency and this frequency, everybody searching and looking for a channel. So I don't know if I've ever been in that big a crowd where my cell phone failed to work, but it's certainly possible, and in theory, it's there.
You know, if you got 1.5 million people, and probably 95% of them got cell phones that are on right in front of them, yeah, it's gonna bog down the system. And
well, then you never know about that guy. They're illegal, but cell phone jammers are used to defeat alarm systems, and so people in a general area cannot make phone calls. And
I got my own cell phone jammer right here.
That was what they call that when you talk in the gibber was the jammer.
Sound like the Minions there.
Well, until that, everybody's hyped up, everybody's excited about the Chiefs, and people ask me, being a radio personality, do you have anything special you've come up with? Well, I think I could say hello. to all Chiefs enthusiasts by coming up with my "Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you?" That's a pretty good one, isn't it?
Well, let's ask Johnny. Johnny, what do you think about that?
Oh, that's just great.
That was. So she had a little bit of a deeper voice than I remember.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, that sounded vague but familiar. But anyway, we did that. I could also go, "Hi, ho, Silver, away!" Anyway, I wanted to do something to kind of show I had to curb my enthusiasm for what I was originally going to come up with. But everybody's excited in Kansas City, even if you're not a fan. And myself, I'm not the greatest of fans, but of course I love. One thing that I kind of think back is some of the old players, and I knew several of these players personally, and had been out with them, been out in the town with them. And, you take even like Len Dawson, which is a great guy, brought a lot of fame and notoriety, especially to the Chiefs when he won that Super Bowl. But you take the amount of money that he made, and what is it? If Mahomes is going to be the $200 million boy, well, what's 1% of $200 million? Isn't that like 200,000? And that's probably what Len Dawson probably made for the Super Bowl to play in. I'm just speculating, but regular players back in like 1969 and 70, the bench warmers probably made around 18 or 19,000 just to sit there and be on the team, because you have to have a full schedule and full team. Most of them, all of them had regular jobs on top of playing for the Chiefs. And I know a lot of the top players back then were probably only making 40, 50, 60, 70. I'd be surprised if Len Dawson wasn't making between 100,000, 125,000. Some of the top string guys were only making 80. So you take the guys that built and made the NFL and the AFL and AFC conference and all that into what they're making today. Do I think they're overpaid? Well, I think it's pretty ridiculous myself, but maybe I'm jealous, because if I had the opportunity to make $200 million a year and I was good at football, well, I'd be out there playing.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm what they call what was in the Christian they call them a word, but I'm not that. I'm not jealous of those guys. If you think back to the injuries suffered by the NFL players, the guys that have died from concussions and the diseases that they've had and had their brains knocked loose a few times. Well, is any amount of money worth that? But I think if I was any good at it, I'd sure give it a try.
Is it not?
We have a caller coming in here, folks.
No, we don't.
We don't have a caller. Maybe it's a recording. But anyway, everybody's glad for
Hello?
the Chiefs, and 50 years is a long time, but I can remember 50 years ago like it was almost the day before yesterday. Not quite yesterday, but that just makes this winning bigger and better than ever. And I think probably to most of the fans, the Super Bowl win and our celebration is, what do you think, bigger than Christmas? I think people are more excited about this than because Christmas happens once a year.
Oh yeah, they're very excited right now.
So it's going to be crazy out there, and you couldn't pay me to go downtown today. And we do have another caller now. Maybe it's who we expected.
I don't know if it's...
All right, who we got?
Hold on, let me bring them up. All right, go ahead.
All right, who do we got?
Caller, can you hear us?
Lisa, Jeff, is that you guys?
Yeah, it's us.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, tell us a little bit about what you see down there, what's going on, kind of, what time you got down there. Just give us the whole scoop.
Oh man, it's packed down here. I mean, at Union Station, there's probably a couple 100,000 people here, probably.
Lisa,
It's just jam packed.
That's just who you can see.
yeah. What time did you guys get down there, you and Lisa?
We got here about right around 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock this
6
morning.
o'clock. Well, I bet now there's a sea of red.
Oh yeah, it's huge. They had a car that broke through a barricade down there. I think it was on 3rd and Grand.
Yeah, it started right at the very first. And did you guys see it down there there on Pershing?
It ended right down here, right down. I mean, we could see it from where we're standing at.
Oh wow!
Well, I heard President Trump was coming, but he ended up over in Kansas City, Kansas.
Yeah, I was actually walking to the bathroom, and then when I came back, they was like, "What happened?" And I'm like, "I didn't see no car chase or nothing because I seen a cop come flying down the hill." and then they broadcast it on the big TVs they got around here.
Yeah. Hey, how far are you from the stage?
Oh, probably about 50 to 75 yards.
3 miles.
3 miles. About 50, 75 yards. Not bad.
Yeah, 55th Truth.
We came back so we could get up on the stairs so we could see the stage a little bit better because.
Okay, yeah.
Now, are they actually having, I heard parade. I like parades. Are they actually having a parade where the Chiefs are going to be there, maybe be in the parade and all that? I don't know a lot about it.
Yeah, they're
Bus,
gonna
okay,
start.
all right.
Yeah, they got double-decker buses that are going to be starting right around 6th and Grand, and they're going to have some. I mean, what I saw a little bit ago, they had like 3 or 4 or 5 double-deckers, like they do over there in London, and all the guys. All the guys are going to be on there waving and everything.
I thought about it. We could have brought the fire engines and the big pumpers out from Inner City Fire Protection District and been in the parade today with Chief Jeff Jewell.
Hey, there you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
But all right. So anything else? You want to give a shout out to all your friends and?
Oh yeah, I'm out here with my wife Lisa, my daughter Liz, and I'm out here with my niece and nephew Andy and Dylan, and we even got a Raider fan out here. I don't know if you know Eddie Castro.
Oh, I saw him. I gave him some. I gave him a little trouble on Facebook earlier. I said, I guess he's changed over and became a Chiefs fan all of a sudden.
Out of the closet, so.
Raider hater to Chiefs fan. Oh, he was a Raider enthusiast. Wait, you might have tell your kids they're live on 3 channels right now, and to say hi to our studio audience. If you got the kids there, tell them they can tell everybody they were on the radio.
Hang on, I'll put you on speakerphone.
Alrighty. Let's see what those kids have to say today out there.
We're on speakerphone, no cut.
No, come on, put him on the spot. Have him sing the shark song. The
The
baby
shark-
shark.
There we go.
Chopper, chopper, chopper. Well, we can say to that one, we can say,
Hey Joe,
Yes,
hey, is there any way you can get some hot chocolate out here?
I can try that. They said no drones, so that might be a little difficult to get to you.
yeah, there's restrictions on some of
Are
those.
you guys all doing good? Cold? All bundled up?
Yeah, it's cold out here.
Oh, I bet. All right, well, I won't keep you. Hey, you all enjoy down there. I'm going to look forward to all the pictures and you guys' videos that you post, and I'll talk to you all real soon.
Thanks for those reports down there live.
All right,
from
thanks, Jeff.
Jeff down there with his family live from Chiefs Kingdom. So here at KCXL, we're there. We're involved with it all.
You realize somebody with a mobile truck selling hot chocolate and coffee can make a fortune today?
You get $2.50 out of a
If they could get in
small
there.
cup of hot
That
chocolate.
was actually really good service. You didn't hear really the extreme loudness of the crowd. You could understand Jeff.
There was there was a moot point.
Well, they
Or
didn't
he
know
was-
they were
point.
on.
Or
Right
he
at
was
first.
in one of the 700 porta potties. He was sitting
He
in
could have
there.
been. He got talking on the phone. Yeah, dropped
Hey,
They
the
don't
phone.
didn't
tell
know
nobody,
they were on
don't tell nobody.
KCXL, otherwise they would have went pandemonium.
Well, folks, as you can see, we're going to carry this on next week because after the parade and the big day, the really big day in Kansas City, we'll have a lot to talk about next weekend. And, of course, we're glad you're here with us today. You could be, I guess, the parade is going to be televised. I'm sure it has to
Yes,
be.
it's going to be televised. Don't forget, about 100 children got lost last year. So throughout the route, there is child notification centers. Kind of like right around 11th and Locust, shooting down on 17th and Walnut. There's a couple down on Pershing and down right around Union Station.
You know what else is going on next Wednesday?
But also, don't forget...
2 days before Valentine's Day.
Don't forget, and I really love this idea that Missouri decided to do. They have green signs every so often with a number. So that way, if you call 911 for an emergency,
Tell them where you're at.
you can say,
That's a good idea.
kind of like the triangle. You say, I'm at A5, and they know exactly where to go.
You got to remember, if you've got small ones with you, you're only 3 steps away from losing them.
Oh, yeah.
In a crowd
Oh, yeah.
like that, you take 1, 2, they may be out of sight at that second step, and on the third step, they may be gone. So these points, if you do get lost, there are safeguards built out there. And hopefully we have some of our listeners that may be even down at the parade today.
And they also did say take a picture of your child of what they have on today. That way, so if you do get lost from your child, you can show police department or EMS.
Excellent. That's an excellent idea. We have that. You have it for immediate reference if somebody had seen them in the for future reference. Let's get back from that from the Chiefs. We had the presidential speech last night, which I think out of a 10, I think he pretty much hit it out of the park. Of course, you got to realize a lot of that was geared towards his reelection, but what's he supposed to do? Say, no, I'm not going to use it for that? Anybody would, but he did it in a good way, the right way. Of course, we know how good a guy and how good the economy and all that is, but do we really understand that? And I still go by the of Ross Perot. American people's been fooled. Well, you don't know. There's a few families that are still running the United States and the world. All of the rhetoric come out did sound good. And it did sound promising, and that's what we need rather than negativity. And of course, we get to that's pretty. That's kind of showing me a picture of Nancy Pelosi. Was just, I think that was a disgrace for her as a person, and I think that was abuse of her position.
There was a few. I mean,
that was terrible.
Like I was telling you, not standing up for. It don't matter what side, of the table you're on. What's his name? They got the Rush Limbaugh.
Rush Limbaugh, yeah.
He got that. Yeah. He's got stage 4 cancer. Stand up for the gentleman. Show your love and your support.
And who was she talking to all night? She was either lip syncing or talking, or she kind of reminded me of one of those little animals that's got like a little bobblehead in the back of the car. And their neck head just kind of goes all over.
She was telling somebody, "Hey, get that glass of wine filled when I leave here."
It could be. She looked like she needed another one, but she could also be suffering of Tourette's syndrome, and that could be. I would hate to see that if it were true, but in jest, I think that's possible. She was talking to someone. I think it was pretty much herself. But then, of course, to tear up the speech, and for it's the president's show. She was there as a guest. Their Speaker of the House. Of course, Pence, his reactions, and I thought were good. At times, you had the whole crowd standing and cheering, and that was good. I think overall, we always want to leave a little room for improvement, but I think the president deserved a 9.5, whether he was pitching his next run in 2020 or not. I think it was a stellar job, and he made very few, if any, mistakes. He got tied in us professional broadcasters, such as myself. You're speaking on the radio live, another thought comes to you, something important you want to share with the listeners, and it's easy for you to get off track sometimes, especially if you're watching a computer or you get an email or your phone rings or Dave's over there giving me a thumbs up or a thumbs down or a cut, hey, cut it. So anyway, it's easy to get, but I thought he did an excellent job of speaking. What do you think, Dave?
He did very good. I just got a message from the people over at Lion's Choice wanting to know if we were still coming over for lunch, and I said, yes, we are.
Is that Lion's Choice is what it's called?
Lion's Choice.
Lion's Choice, like the roar of a lion?
I've heard already that their roast beef sandwiches put Arby's to shame. Now, I can't say that because I haven't had them yet, but...
Well, we're going to head over there from the KCXL crew and have lunch today, and hopefully we can get them as a supporter and advertiser here at KCXL Radio, and maybe some discount food will be presented to us.
That's my middle name.
Well, today also, folks, we got a special guest calling in, and this is a well-known author. Her name is Judith Finlayson, and the name of the book is You Are What Your Grandparents Ate. And I'd like to read this here. Maybe it won't sound like I'm reading. The professional that I am, yeah, right. Okay, but it says, this is just not another health promotion book. It explains why we are suffering the largest health epidemic in human history, why we need better, wholesome foods to buy, why we need better food policy, and why we must pay careful attention to the health and nutrition of our young women and men as they prepare to bear the next generation. Judith offers a new and exciting view of how we have come to our present state of poor health and how we can reinvent ourselves as a healthy being. And anyway, she should be calling in here at some point this morning. Going back here a little bit further on the book, what your grandparents ate and how they lived their lives has a direct bearing on who you are and we are today. And in turn, your lifestyle will impact the lives of our children, grandchildren, and generations beyond. This is the basic premise behind one of the most fascinating avenues of scientific research currently being conducted around the world. The idea that your chances of developing chronic disease as an adult are linked with systemic changes that took place while you were still in your mother's womb.
Oh.
Clear back, that's a long time, isn't it, Dave?
Yeah.
While the general public has come to grips with the idea of a genetic predisposition to particular diseases, it turns out that it is not simple. Genes are not static. They interact with their environment, changing how they are expressed and resetting body processes while adjusting to their experiences. What we do and eat impacts how our genes express themselves, both in a positive and negative fashion. Moreover, research suggests that some of these changes may be passed off to our offspring. This means that we may unknowingly be sowing the seeds of chronic illness across our generations. And of course, we've always heard the one through some of our associates here at KCXL, you are what you eat. And you think about it, even like a computer, G-I-G-O, called garbage in, garbage out. Well, in a PC, that could be corruption or misfunction. But in our bodies, it could be also a misfunction. But you are what you eat. Almost anyone can improve their health by just simply cutting down how much they eat. Then next on top of that, the most simplest thing is watch what you eat. If you're gonna eat McDonald's 3 times a day, well, no matter how good it is, and to tell you the truth, I think I could live off those sausage and egg McMuffins. And there's 2 for $4 at McDonald's right now, and a large coffee $1. But I think I can almost live off those. But the nutritional benefit, and it's it's not the thing that, well, you're going to eat a bad meal one night, and of course you wake up in poorer health the next morning. You may not feel as good, but you are what you eat. And of course, you also see genetic type traits that are handed down through the generations from family to family. And in many times, those will actually even skip a generation.
Somebody call?
No, I heard that people trying to call in on this are getting that voice prompt stuff out in the lobby, and that's just not right.
Hope it's working, because he was supposed to call in at about 10:15. So we'll keep an eye on the phones there. But anyway, more about the book is, in case she doesn't call in, learn how to live a healthy life and leave a legacy of wellness by looking both to the past and to the future. And this is from the author Judy Finlayson herself. Until I discovered David Barker's work, I subscribed to the conventional wisdom that chronic illness is pretty much the result of the genes we inherit from our parents and the lifestyle we chose to live.
Have you read the book?
Well, I read the front cover and back cover, and I just picked a random place in the middle, and so I've got in-depth knowledge.
Hey, that's good enough.
So, well, hopefully it's not like most books. An old scholar that I knew he says, you take out all the fluff, and he says, all you have to do is read the back paragraph. So I think this is a little more than that, because it hits pretty close to home. But now I see the landscape of health and wellness in a different light. Yes, your genes are involved, but they're like actors in a starring role. From the perspective of your genome, your epigenome, that's genes, or slang for genes, so we'd call it genomes. It is the director. It calls the shots and how each gene's part shapes up. Traditionally, genome would be, I guess, a compilation of all your genes put together, and then the individuals would be called, a gene. I'm called Steve, but I got a friend named Gene, but those are genes. Traditionally, we've argued about the relative impacts of nature and nurture as if they were 2 warring camps. Now, thanks to the science epigenetics, we know that lifestyle does play a significant role in chronic illness, but not quite as we thought. Nature and nurture are tightly entwined. The image of the double helix comes to mind. Like those who parallel strands of DNA, nature and nurtures interact, affecting all aspects of your life. Moreover, their effects don't begin or end with you and your parents. Their influence extends through the generations. And this is just kind of from a doctor, what he thinks of the book. But this is not just another health promotion book. It explains why we are suffering the largest health epidemic in human history, why we need better, wholesome foods to buy, why we need better food policy, and why we must pay careful attention to the health and nutrition of our young women and men as they prepare to bear the next generation. Judith offers a new and exciting view of how we come to our present state of poor health and how we can reinvent ourselves as healthy. Well, that makes me feel better just reading it. What do you think?
I felt so much better.
Well,
Just
anyway,
listening.
perhaps the telephone lines are being affected today.
I'll test it.
We're going to test the studio line to see if it's
Dave's
working.
going to call himself.
Call himself from his
Well,
cell
I know
phone.
it's working. We
to-
had
Well, they called in. That's right.
Jeff Brown there. Him and Lisa and
It's working.
their kids and all
Okay.
that.
All right. Well, anyway, Judith may have got a problem with the central time zone or something like that. But
Well, we can just...
is that you?
Yeah, I'm hanging. Yeah.
Okay. Dave called himself, answered himself, and now I've got the line back. Well, anyway, I guess we can get back to the Kansas City Chiefs a bit. And what was the projected turnout there today?
The projected is right around 1.3, but they said could go up to 1.6, 1.8 million.
Has that amount of people been downtown before?
No, and because it was right around 1 million, if not just shy of 1 million, what they estimated for in 2015
See, now if your
for the
friends would
Royals
scream
parade.
KCXL on their phone, we'd have an audience of 1.3 million by default.
By default, 1.3 million listeners here that we were tied into, through proxy.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's good. We can use those statistics here at KCXL Radio. Anyway, we had a show planned today on health and natural health and how to attack that. And I guess we'll save that for a different day. And perhaps our author is calling from a different time zone, and their information could have been erroneous.
Or she's just in Chief Kingdom fever right now, and
Well, I'm not for sure she's from here. She's from, I believe, the East Coast, which, of course, they're an hour ahead of us. And her publicity agent may not have told her that we were Central Standard Time. And so I guess it would have been good to contact me prior to that. But anyway, she got a good plug on air here. And if possible, we have some listeners that want to hear this. I know I want to hear more from the author. But you are what you eat. But this one here, you are what your grandparents ate. And that's in direct proportion to that. And our Jeannie.
well, that'd be spam and some other weird
Spam,
food
yeah,
back
Vienna
in the day.
sausage. And I mean, I haven't had one of those in 40 years.
Oh, it's been a long time since I've had a Vienna sausage.
Vienna sausage.
Joe,
You got
tell
that
what I
deviled
ate
ham
last night.
spread.
Yeah.
Bacon wrapped tater tots dipped in brown sugar.
Yeah, I made that yesterday.
Wow, you're a regular galloping gourmet, right?
Bacon wrapped tater tots, then dipped. So it was all, like you do with the flour on the chicken and
Mhm.
stuff, in brown sugar. Put it in the oven for 20 minutes. Oh, it's
That sounds like
candy.
a Frank Zappa song. Bacon wrapped
Oh,
tater
it's
tots.
like
That could be Zappa, yeah.
candy.
Well, I've got I had a couple different restaurants in Kansas City. We had firstly we had Mr. J's Barbecue, and that was formerly ribs and stuff from down on Hickman Mills, and then we moved it out to called it Mr. J's out on 40 Highway across from Yellow Freight. And
Okay, yeah.
Skip Sleister had that building over there, and he liked our food so well, he gave us a pretty good shake on rent. Of course, he could eat free anytime he wanted, but I think all his friends probably were too. Or maybe that was my partner's friends, I guess I should say. I think we had more ribs going out the back door than people coming in the front door to eat them. But I liked the idea. I was pretty successful in business. I'd take my books out there and sell alarm systems and camera jobs, while I was having lunch and hanging around the restaurant. But the barbecue was real good. Of course, the people in that part of town, we did not have a liquor license, and it took us a while to get one. But people in that part of town wanted to have a beer with their barbecue. And the food was really good. We had an electronic smoker, believe it or not, but it was a very high-tech thing. It was about a $15,000 device, and one of our secrets were that people liked, we'd dunk the entire meat into a batch that was saturated heavily with liquid smoke. So that, and then the rub that you put on there, so it gave us a pretty good barbecue. The food was actually real good there. Remember, we had one person come in, and his name was Blackie, and he come in for about a month complaining that they weren't hot enough, hot in temperature or hot in spice. So anyway, last time he complained, I told Sis to give me those. So I took the ribs back and dumped them in the French fryer, and then sprinkled them with cayenne pepper, and we delivered him back to his table. And well, he's over there going to town, but he's crying, he's sweating, he's rushed. So I figured we really got him, and went over and asked him how those ribs were, and he goes, "Best ribs he ever had in his life."
Did you make them with ghost
Nose
peppers?
were opening.
No, we dipped them in a French fryer to make them super hot. I mean, they were boiling, and then we cayenne peppers.
Temperature hot, or are they both?
He
Spicy
complained about
hot
both. He complained about both. So.
Just see over at Sis's house this weekend, over at Amanda's, and my cousin. I call her Sis because we're like brother and sister. But over at Amanda's, some people had brought some wings. And her husband, Jesse, loves, he likes spicy food. He kind of has to watch it now. But he bit into some wings, and he about started crying.
Hot wings, and that's what they call them. Generally, it's not the hot as far as temperature hot, but
they were.
But that can get you, yeah.
His eyes were open. Nose was. He could breathe good after that one.
And Joe just happened to have a recording of his reaction after he had these wings, and I got it right here.
Well, actually, what I heard was after Joe had a bite, it was. He was crying. But anyway, we had that.
That's right, Casey. We are the champions.
We are the champions.
Steve Barnhart here is the champion.
Hey, the Steve Barnhart Show here, the Dr. B Show, the Dr. B's Health and Wealth Enterprise Show. Hey, we can call it something different every week. Who cares? But
with his crazy sidekick, Catfish.
Catfish Joe, and then station manager Dave Brewer on the switchboard, and all kinds of gadgets over there. But anyway, needless to say, in the restaurant, Mr. J's, all I have left from that is, I think, a couple books of matches. But Blackie came in there every Friday till we closed down. We were open for, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5, I don't know, 6 years. But it was good food, good eating. And then my next endeavor was old world German-style food. And Ben Thompson was a chef. He was a German chef, and of course the Italians, teach any good German, whatever. The Italians teach the Germans how to cook German food because they do it much better than the Germans do.
Now, we're going to talk about Germans. Let's do it right.
Germans, kommen Sie her, gehen Sie out. We got a lot of crying going on in the background here. Well, this is anything goes today, folks. We had a really big shoot, folks. A really big shoot. All right.
We used to have a German show on the station.
I had to take the device away from Catfish Joe Rawlings there. He's having too much fun over there. So in the studio, the whole studio was crying like a baby. Easy boy. So anyway, we were talking about that, but in our German restaurant, it was at 17th and Summit, at the top of the hill there, and the FBI headquarters is right down a little bit north of there, but it was called Das Summit Cafe. And we made our own soups from scratch daily, the hot German potato salad, which I didn't care for as much as cold potato salad. And then, of course, Ben being a wild game specialist, I know one year that he actually prepared the wild boar for the governor's inauguration. And that was, but I didn't think you were supposed to do that behind the restaurant. I can't swear to it, but I would say on many occasions we had fresh fish, venison,
Changes a
and
little bit.
other types of meats that were served, fresh in the restaurant.
Maybe he was bored.
Board, do it. I'll do it. I got to keep this. I got to keep
Can't
this
keep it away from me.
from Joe. He's hurting himself over there. So anyway, we had a good show. We're going to continue that. But Dr. B's Health and Wealth Enterprises, for people that are interested in a business opportunity. It's not for everybody, but we have an excellent business opportunity. It's called 5 Links, and that would be the numeral 5, LINX.net. And just put a / and put Dr. Barnhart. And this is a great, great, great program, especially for any of you nonprofits. If a church needs a fundraiser, if a church or your nonprofit organization needs to make a few extra bucks, this is an excellent program because they are now allowing nonprofits to get into this program for no cost. And some of your membership, some of your friends want to sign up for some 20 products and services, which are all very good. Well, anything they buy, you get paid. Anything maybe your parishioners in the church buy, the church gets paid. With the deregulation of energy that's out there, they can even sign up for their energy services under your company. They pay their utility bill, you get paid. You pay your cell phone bill, you get paid. Well, they pay it. We credit card processing, travel. They, of course, have a whole line of CBD products, which is becoming very popular and regulated. Unregulated now, I should say. But just 20 different products there that you may be interested in doing. And I talked with a minister the other day. He is doing it for his church, and it's turned into an excellent, excellent fundraiser. So if you're interested in that, you can call me, Steve Barnhart, at 816-765-5555. And if I said call now, I probably shouldn't because I'm on the radio right now. But if you call, I have one of those fancy devices that will take a message and play it back to me at a later date. Because it's
I need one of those.
Well, it's incredibly easy to access and manipulate.
I haven't set up my voicemail.
Voicemail. I bought a new phone the other day, and I used the voice that came with the box. It sounded like when my dad used to carry a baby picture around, and it was a kid that came with a wallet. So he showed that to people for years. They said, well, I thought he'd be much older. Well, anyway, we've talked about several things here today, but business opportunity, Steve Barnhart, and of course, I approved this message. And that's how everybody should be saying it. If you're sitting there and you're writing your mug's right there on TV, they know you're saying it, unless it's lip synced. So I think a much more grammatical, proper statement would be, and of course, I approved this message. Don't you, Joe?
Yeah. Hey, I got to take it off subject a little bit. And also, I want to give a shout out to Kim Killian. If you need a home, hit me up. I can give you her number. She's listening right now. Kim Killian. She's over in, in Blue Springs Lee Summit, but she goes all over. Hey, but, yeah, I just had a friend call or text me and said, I cannot call the station because I called in sick.
Wow, and you just said her name live on air?
No, that was not Kim.
Oh, okay, all right. Said, wow, what a pal. Yeah. I did that once. I called in and got in on the radio when I
Called in sick.
But of course, nobody was listening to the radio from the school. I don't think they had it on that station, but I was pretty young. But I guess I liked hearing my...
Don't tell my mama I called in.
Well, one of the first things I ever did on the radio was win a talent contest.
Oh, yeah?
And this was back years... Well, not that long ago, but remember the Unknown Comic? Dave probably does. He had a sack on his head. And he went going, ah, ah, ah. I I can't do that voice anymore. But I had it down, and in fact, the guy on the radio was a talent show, and I think it was KJLA. No, I was probably 20 years old by then. Well, anyway, I won that. He says that's as good as the real unknown comic, and I had it down. And plus, it was kind of hard to do. It's sort of like being a auctioneer. But no, I do remember radio and TV stuff I was interested in when I was a kid.
Well, you got that voice.
Yes, you too. Drive the big rigs and bring home the big paychecks.
You know, you can just talk. I can't.
Well, you've got that. You have that PR ability, though, from your, DJing and your working with that and entertainers and people you've interviewed. So it's good to have you here on the show.
Have that DJ voice. You got to do your voice like this, or you sound like Phil J.
This is kcxl.
With Phil J. You know, Phil J. was, my mom had went to Central Junior High School.
He's still doing okay.
Up
Oh,
to
don't
ninth
forget.
grade.
If you're down at the parade,
up here when he got canned from 94.9, but
if you're down at the
was under
parade,
contract still. And
stay
that was a long time ago.
off the trees.
Off the trees, yeah. But
Stay off
isn't
the
he,
trees.
isn't he probably, I hate to say age, but close to 80 years old, probably?
Probably.
Well, I remember WHB when I was a kid, and they used to say, we grew up together. Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I fell asleep with what, in fact, that was so long ago, Dave, back in the 60s, my parents didn't, my mom called it a transistor. She didn't say radio. But my grandma had bought me like a $20 AM, FM pocket radio, and that was about as good as they got back then. I mean,
I've always been different, though. When people were listening to WHB, I was listening to KUDL. When they were listening to KY102, I was listening to Quickie. Always went for the underdog.
I grew up, listening to the same music my brother listened to. He was 10 years older than me. I'm 64, so he would have been 74. And that's why Friends and my actions and taste in music and a lot of other things is, and like say Friends, is older than myself because I mimicked my brother because I looked up to him. We lost him about 5 years ago. I had a massive heart attack, but I still look up to him, still love him, and miss him, but I patterned myself after him, so I'm a little kid with a little bit different ambitions and desires than another kid that's 6 years old. But I was probably 6, 7, 8 years old. WHB, was they around the early 60s?
They've been around since the 50s.
Okay, no wonder. Because I remember...
You can go on YouTube. Well, look at this. We finally got a
the guy
phone
got
call.
his pants down?
He got his pants down. It's probably Coco on the line. Got his pants down, climbing up a tree.
Hang on, let me lock you in. I don't know who it is, but a lady. She's a lady.
Hello, Dr. Barnhart here. Who do we have?
You have Coco Conway on the phone.
Oh,
Oh,
Coco.
we thought, well, Coco, we're glad you called in because we had a guest coming in today. Not as special as you, of course, but we had a guest calling in to talk about her book on how you are with your grandparents' age. So anyway, Coco, it's good to hear from you and your best bud sitting here next to me, which
Hey,
is
it works
eager
out
to
good because
say
your friends
hi.
wanted some cocoa.
We wanted some hot cocoa, so now we got some on the air here. But anyway, I'll let Joe talk to you. I mean, we want to hear about your TV show, the Coco Conley Show, Dr. Barnhart's personal appearance. Would be the most important thing, of course.
I want to hear her thoughts about the Chiefs and what her thoughts are right now with the parade getting
Let's
ready to happen.
get it from Coco.
Yeah, my thoughts right now for the parade is,
Woohoo!
If she was live here, the windows may have broke.
I know.
Now you got to do a new version of Live for the Moment. Let me ask you something. How many times did you think the Chiefs were going to lose?
If I didn't
oh
care.
no, I never doubt it. I never doubt it. Never doubt it.
I know, our boys
Now
got
listen,
there.
you got a chance on this new TV show of yours to make it right because you blew it on 41 a couple of years ago when you didn't say. I was just saying to my friend Dave Brewer at KCXL the other day. Now you can do it on your new TV show.
Of course you can.
Of course. We can do that. And the first thing I will say coming out will be, how about those guys?
Wow, the speakers were crackling.
They were.
Yeah, she sounds like Minnie Riperton.
We could tell, yeah. It was low. It was low volume, but high piercing sound.
Yeah.
And, but I think it was on key actually.
It was.
Yeah.
So, are you watching the parade on Fox or anything?
Yes, I am. I'm watching right now.
There's a lot of people, huh?
Now, is the parade like lots of entries, or is this primarily just Chiefs and that sort of thing?
It's any and everybody, but Chiefs got NFL alone's got a huge following.
Like I say, I'd known that, I would have talked with Chief Jewel and brought one of the fire trucks down there and got in the parade.
We could have done that.
Well, you can one of these days.
Get Coco singing on top.
We're gonna do a inner city fire protection district special out here at the radio station. Of course, Coco's invited. She'll sing the national anthem for us probably.
All right. Well, Stephen.
Oh, sounds good.
Next year, you talk to Mahomes personally. You call him up. I know you got his number. You got contacts everywhere, and you just say, "Hey, dude, you need to win us another Super Bowl for 2021, and so we can have the fire trucks down there."
This is Eric Mahomes at KCXL Radio.
Eric.
And
Patrick
Mahomes too.
I was like, "Who's Eric?"
I was watching a movie last night with
Eric Hosmer.
No, it had Eric, the guy that was on the bombings and all that stuff. Eric. It's a new special on TV, so I got Eric on the brain.
Oklahoma?
No, this is the one where the guy lived in the woods for like 5 years.
Oh, I don't watch that.
But anyway, I'm working on this one. Coco can be a critic. This is Patrick Mahomes of the Kansas City Chiefs. We're at KCXL Radio.
Now, Coco, I need you to leave the studio, so do not hang up.
We're all a little crazy here today, Coco. It's kind of an anything goes show, but a lot more than normal. So we're going to let you talk for a minute. We want to hear about your upcoming special, Tabards, your TV show, and some of that stuff.
Say hi to Debbie Wallace, though.
Hi to Debbie Wallace.
Your cousin.
Oh, Debbie Wallace. Okay, that Debbie Wallace. Okay, well, Debbie, yeah, my little cousin. I used to think that cousin Debbie was Shirley Temple when we were kids, and you always wanted to kiss her on the cheek. I still do, but it'd be a kissing cousins, friendship kiss. But anyway, she's a nice gal. We haven't seen each other for a long time, but on Facebook, she lives down in Florida, and I think her and her husband and Mia, their dog, is always on vacation. So anyway, Coco, we want to hear some more about that show and what you're doing, and we'll let you talk this time.
Okay, well, I won't be talking too long because I don't want to miss this parade,
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, walk parades.
Okay, well, coming up on May 20th of this year, I will be hosting the Coco Comedy Show, which will be entertainment of live music, dancers, duos, and just different types of entertainment. And we will be out at the Tabards in Overland Park, Kansas, and the show will start at 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday nights, and starting out for now, and we'll see how it goes from there. I don't know how this is going to go, but we're going to do it.
You know what? If just us show up to that event, I guarantee you we're still going to have a good time.
Yes, we are.
And if we, for
Catfish, with him being there, oh my goodness, we're going to have a blast.
We're going to do it. I might have to have a couple of my classic tall glasses of wine to kick things off, so make sure we have a good time.
Yeah, exactly. And I see one of my friends just clicked in. He's watching. He's a fireman. Hi, Tyler. Tyler Solberg. Say hi to my friend, guys.
Tyler Fobert?
Yes, Solberg.
Solberg.
He's watching.
Oh, good. Well, firemen, we're Dr. B's the fire marshal down for Inner City Fire Protection District down there with Chief Jeffrey Jewell.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Inspector and fire marshal. There you go. I needed to have something to do since I retired. 40, 50-hour work week to me is certainly part-time.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, Coco, we won't keep you too long. We know you want to get back to your show. They're watching probably on Fox, watching the parade. We just kind of wanted to get your input a little bit.
Well, thank you.
We love hearing you we love hearing your voice on here.
Yep, she is definitely one of our associates. Don't want to miss the Coco Conley show coming up. Hopefully that will. Are you going to record that so some people can see some of it?
It's going to be recorded live.
Okay, recorded live.
Possibly. Right. Well, I'm not. I'm on. Never mind.
Can I say one more thing before I go?
Of course.
I also want to let everyone know that I will be interviewing be guests on the show, and one of my main guests will be Tom Lindsay. He's an actor here.
Oh yeah, we all know. A lot of us know Tom.
Yeah, you know Tom?
Well, yeah, he was at the last show, and
You know him, Joe.
his son Toby, and he's yeah, because he was there. He did stuff with what's our golfing buddy, Jeff Vaughn.
Well, Coco, I'll have you know that I was on a commercial during the Super Bowl one year.
We don't want to know about your Speedo.
So that's
commercial.
it wasn't the
I'm
Speedo
kidding,
thing like that because they had to rate it X. So, but anyway, I got in trouble when I wore the Speedos. Well, it was like the little G-string, and I got in trouble because I went to the beach and I had it on backwards.
Oh!
Why do you guys always gotta get like that when I'm on here?
Well,
Because we love you so much.
Joe started it
Coco.
like that. We're supposed to keep that's PG, folks. So we have to apologize for getting so rough and rowdy. But we usually try to keep it G-rated. But every once in a while, we just
I
kind
just
of
kick it up a notch and
you kicked it up. Red Skelton, even they asked Red Skelton. They said
living
one
on the
time.
edge.
They said, "Red, a good Christian guy like he was. He said, Red, why'd you do that?" He goes, "I just couldn't pass it up."
You guys are crazy. Have a great show.
All
Thanks,
right.
Coco. We'll talk
See
to you
Coco.
soon. Okay,
Oh,
did Dave just pull the plug on us?
Dave just like went.
Sound like something went bleak. I thought he pulled the whole station out from under us.
I'm
No.
not that crazy.
But don't forget, guys, 11:30, the parade starts right there at 6th and Grand. It's going to go all the way down Grand. I think it's a 3 mile, 2 mile, I think 3 mile. I think a 3 mile, it could be 2. Who knows? Something, one or the other. 2 or 3 mile parade going all the way down to Pershing. It's going to shoot right there at Pershing when it gets to the bottom of the hill of Crown Center there, and then go to Union Station. You got medical places all throughout. You're going to have over 1 million people. Don't park on the highways, and just have fun.
Well, that's a spectacular event. Hopefully they recorded that and they will do a show it again for people that did have to work. Or we're entertaining our loyal listeners today.
It'll be on YouTube about 10 minutes after it airs.
Oh, cool. I hope they'll rerun that and all the newest movies that haven't been released yet will be on there too. I remember seeing Batman once, and I said, "That's not even out at the theaters yet." He says, "I got it offline." I said, "I don't even want that in my shop." Not saying it was, but if it would have happened to be, I don't even want that in my shop.
Again,
Exactly.
we are going to Lion's Choice. You can join us over there. You can pay for your own lunch, of course.
Well,
But we'll be broadcasting live on Facebook Live, won't we, Joe? It wouldn't be the same if we did.
We also like to take just a moment here. We have good friends of the station, Joy and Curly, and Curly lost his battle with cancer here. When was that, Dave?
Yesterday
Just-
morning,
just-
about 3 a.m.
Just yesterday in the morning, very early, and they were loyal listeners and participants here with us at KCXL, and our heart and prayers go out to them. And I'd like to take just this moment of total silence on our end, just as our expression.
Gonna have a lady named Lisa. She is along the parade route. She's just gonna call, and we'll get like 2 or 3 minutes of.
We were doing our moment of silence.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was in zone 2.
I don't know if we can legally do that.
Well, we did. That's long enough, good enough. If we did, we didn't. Hopefully there'll be no repercussions out of that. But anyway, our hearts and prayers go out to Joy and the family,
Yes,
and
Joy,
and
sorry.
Curly to rest in peace. And we hope that you pass through this and come out a stronger person. And just our regrets there. So anyway, let's go
I am
on.
sorry. I'm very sorry for interrupting the moment of silence.
Well, you probably, it was just my normal, because we're talking, it's a Seinfeld episode today, and we're really talking a lot about nothing.
Yeah.
No problem there. She understands. You were cued and ready to go, and there's no problem there whatsoever. But anyway, there's somebody calling in now.
So,
Let's just
It's probably
lock
gonna
her
be-
in. Let's just lock her in. We ain't got time to answer.
all right, who do we got down there?
Hey, is this Dave?
No, this is Catfish. Is this Melissa?
This is Melissa speaking.
Alrighty. So, where at on the parade are you?
I am on 7th and Grand.
7th and Grand. So you're up there towards the start of it. Did you see the little high-speed mini chase there?
Actually, no, we did not. We got here a little bit later. We were staying 7 blocks away and seen it on the news.
Oh yeah, that was a pretty crazy thing. So just kind of give us a little, little detail of what's going on around you. Are you guys down on the sidewalks? Kind of a little bit about all that.
Yes, we're down on the sidewalks. Actually, we're really close to the barricade right next to or across the street from Channel 41. We have the music going. Everybody is enjoying themselves, having a great time. Everybody's getting along. Nothing, bad going on. It's just looks like one big happy party family.
Well, hopefully everybody be safe and secure. There'll be no major events and all that. But anyway, yeah, we have listeners live here at KCXL Radio from the parade.
And we're not going to keep you on long because we're not going to be on too much longer. But hey, just tell everybody around you, yell Kansas City Chiefs real loud so everybody can hear everybody down there.
Yes, sir.
There we go.
Hold on. I hear them. Do you hear that?
That was a loud shout to KCXL and all loyal listeners.
All right.
Direct from the parade.
All right, Melissa. Well, hey, you all have fun. You all be safe. And
you guys have a good one. Go Chiefs Kingdom.
Go Chiefs.
Good. Go Chiefs.
Anyway, that doesn't pump you up. I could, it makes me want to do the one. And I'm gonna have to teach you this one here. I am Hans.
She thought I was Joe. Or Joe.
You have to learn
whatever.
This one. I am Hans, and he is Franz. And we are here to pump you up. But anyway, that's what I am. People in Kansas City are pumped up today. Anything goes. Driving home, I don't think we're going to have a lot of traffic because most of them are downtown, and it'll take you probably longer to clear that out than it does the stadium out there.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, it's going to be traffic backed up for, 2-3 hours?
Oh, at least.
Yeah,
at least.
I remember one time when I was on the sheriff's department, we went down to Memorial Hall, and I parked my car on the lot there, and there were about 20 cars that had me blocked in. Well, I had to leave early, so I don't know for sure what happened, but I told a fellow sheriff's deputy that I really needed to get out of there, and I come back from the building, and all those cars were towed off. So, but they were illegally blocking me in. So, should I have done that or should I not have done that? They should have not broke the law.
They
So,
should.
what I was getting at, I wonder how many cars and vehicles will be towed today.
Oh, I imagine quite a bit.
I mean, you just take a small percentage. Of course, a lot of people are, busing in. They're share riding. They're walking. All that. But
Music can go.
music can go.
Yeah, we're out of here in 30 seconds.
We're out here in 30 seconds. So everybody out there, be safe. Remember, it's Chiefs Kingdom, Super Bowl winners. Celebrate with pride, but celebrate safely. Good day.
Love you, Kansas. Oh, he turned me off. All right, KC, we love you. Turn next week on Wednesday, 10 a.m. for the Steve Barnhart Show. This is going to be a little Tech 9 with his Red Kingdom for KC Chiefs.
Miguel did right and say that they thought something come up.
David will let me know when we are offline.
We are.
So KC, we love you.
So she got held up.
Yeah, she had some sort of emergency happen. They sincerely apologize.
Wait, huh?
Well, I don't know. We'll see on that. Won't be too eager. Give them a free shot.
Well, it looks like we're still on.
No,
Is this thing still on?
No.
Oh, it's not 11 yet.
Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you?
It doesn't matter.
It don't matter. We'll talk to anything.
Let's go.
All right, love y'all, KC. Thank you, Coco. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you all for calling in. And I'll have this online on YouTube a little bit later.